Hi guys, Febiven here, and today I would like to talk about Cassiopeia. I think Cassiopeia right now is a really strong counter pick. Even a blind pick in solo queue, I think you can make it work because it's a really cheesy pick. I feel like if you are really good with Cassio and you hit your Qs, you can just spam your E and get a really big chunk or even a kill and chase the enemy down because you get a lot of movement speed when you hit your Q. In the early game, you should play this champion a bit passive. If you have a matchup where you need to trade a lot, for example against LeBlanc, you want to go Corruption Potion and you want to spam your E on her and try to make her low. And if you guys have seen the game where Faker played Cassiopeia against Maples, LeBlanc, this was a great example of how you should use it. I think you should mainly farm it out in the early game. You can go Corruption Potion or Doran's Ring, depends. And you want to try to farm for your tier. And when you get your tier, you can start really like dominating your lane. You can start out with W and then Q and then E. You should get a good trade. In the mid game, you want to look for your team fights. You want to use your W properly and your ult properly in threat. You have to ulti them and kite them out and do as much damage as possible. And you can split push with Cassio too. Like, you're really strong on side lane. You just need your teammates to help you a bit because you're kind of immobile. But if you buy a Rod of Ages, you're pretty tanky. So I think it's the same in the late game. You wanna keep wave clearing, keep looking for those team fights. Maybe look for a flash ult if you have a good opportunity. And I think this champion is really strong in team fights, so that's probably her strength and you should play around her. Core items on this champion are tier into first item Doran's Ring or Corruption Pot, depends on the lane. If you want to trade a lot, you go Corruption Pot. If you want to farm it out, you go for Doran's Ring. Then you go tier, then you go Rod of Ages, into Morello, into Void Staff if they have a lot of magic resist. If they don't have a lot of magic resist, you can finish your Seraph Embrace. After this, you can go for Banshees or Dead Cap, and after this you can go for Leandris or Zonia, depends what you need really. I think the key matchup is really Orianna. Like, I think Orianna has slight range advantage, and it's the same with Syndra. Like, Orianna, Syndra, they have a range advantage, so you have to play really well and try to not get hit by enemy skill shots because they outrange you, and then you want to try to push the lane and try to survive because they just have longer range than you, which means they will get better trades if they are better playing the matchup. So yeah, you need a lot of help in this matchup and try to survive it, and then in teamfight you can do more or equal. Special combo is, I usually like to do W, Q, because you use W, then they get slowed, and then you use Q right afterwards. And also you want to use W and then Q, and then maybe you can ult them because they're already slowed because of your W, and you get the movement speed. So it pretty much gives you 100% ult if you hit your W, then your Q, and then you R, unless they flash it obviously, but then you get a free flash, which is really worth. And just the ult flash is also good. Sometimes people don't react to it, so you can stun them and one-shot them. I think this champion doesn't really need a nerf. I think it's really hard to play actually. Like, all her skills are skill shots besides the ult and the R, but I think the ult is really hard to hit, like to stun the enemy, and I think the Q and the W are really hard to shoot as well because they're skill shots and they're pretty easy to dodge. The Q is pretty easy to dodge, but W is harder. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good champion. You can get solo kills a lot with this champion and you can snowball really hard, and you have a lot of tools basically. Like, you can do everything, and it just has some bad matchups in the early game, but after this, once you scale up, I think you're a really strong duelist. Like, you can 1v1 most of the champions if you hit your spells. So yeah, that was it.